Hey, Stukulele from Uke Mullum here. Thanks for stopping by. This is a songwriting video. I've written a new song. It's taken me a while to get around to actually making this video, having completed the song a few months ago actually. And one of the reasons was I wanted to make sure it sounded as good as possible so I can put it on Bandcamp. That way, if you like it, you can go and download it and it will help support the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. I did this song completely differently to anything that I've done before. The way I approached the last few tunes was to pick a scale, pick a key, pick the chords and start from there. With this one, my concept was open chords. So you get these lovely chords that you can play up and down the neck. Every single chord had to have at least one open string. So I started with these chords. I really like that groove, just keeping it as simple as possible. Straight up and down. And I lifted my fingers in between the changes, which is a cool groove. And it reminded me of a Polly Jean Harvey song, which I can't remember the name of right at the moment. That was enough inspiration for me. I thought, well, if it's cool enough for her, it's cool enough for me. So that became my verse. Second part of the verse went to here. And then I found E minor, worked quite nicely there. Then I went back again. And back again to the E minor, to the A minor, back to the D minor add 9. So that was my verse. I was happy with that. So then for my chorus, I went to a D chord. It's gone from major to minor. Very subtle shift, but it's a positive up change. So I dug that. And then I just took my finger off, got a D sus2. So we've got one bar of each. And then I just slide my fingers right up here. Originally I did this, but then I tried it with my finger off and I liked it even better. That's a very Neil Young chord, isn't it? So I ended up finding this thing. And I thought, well, where's the next high, good sounding open chord? And I ended up here. Now, woohoo! I had no idea of the names of these chords. It was very liberating, in fact, to not even think in terms of what works theoretically and just do something that sounded kind of cool. And then back to this thing. Okay, so they were all my parts, 4 parts altogether. I had a verse and what I called a chorus and that high bit and this thing. It just kind of tied the 2 bits together. So that was a long process of trial and error and recording myself over and over and over until finally I got it right. So having got all that progression, I opened up Logic Pro and recorded that part as simply as possible. Just straight up and down the whole way, just to keep it really simple and make room for other parts. And once I'd done that, I could hear things happening. So I started adding a bass line was the first thing I did. I really like doing bass lines on Logic. You don't have to be a good bass player, but you can work out the notes in the scale and pop them in there and try different things very easily. So I had a lot of fun doing that first. And once I had the bass line in place, Then I started messing around with melody ideas for the vocals. And I did that just by finding a scale that sat in there, which is probably in D, I imagine, and went up and down the keyboard a few times, just recorded willy-nilly improvised stuff, went back and listened to it, and went, that's good, chop that out, put that here, put this here. And in the end, I ended up with a melody that I was quite happy with. It sounded catchy. So the next part was the lyrics. And I draw from my life for lyrics. Teenage kids, who would have thought parenting is going to be so hard? I ended up with the concept, it's way too loud in here. Obviously where I was writing was at a friend's place and I was away from my home. And having that luxury of space and silence made me realise how little I can get done at home because it's so loud. Not just loud in terms of volume, but in my head, there's so many things going on. Worrying about this, worrying about that, worrying about that. There's school, there's problems with my teenage son. My partner's got things going on at her work. And it just never stops. And then all the other stuff that I'm trying to do. So that was the concept. It's way too loud. And I started off like that. And of course, everything seems to come back to relationships with me. So the first few words came out really quickly. But I want to tell you about something that I did for the second verse. I just had no idea of where I wanted to go. And I was thinking that it was sounding kind of 80s. Just had a pretty solid kind of backbeat to it. So I thought I'd do a trick that David Bowie often did, which is to go and open a book at any old page and go, tip, I'll have that, thanks. The first thing I did was opened up and saw the line, we stopped in Naples to refuel, then we went out to sea. Now I had to massage that a little bit to get the syllables to all work, but that's what I ended up with. And I was very happy with that. It just made me feel like putting on a fluffy shirt and dyeing my hair and being an 80s new wave groover. So I just threw it in there. I like the sound of it. Everything just sat quite easily. Lyrically speaking, it was the first time that I was happy with the way the melody and the lyrics melded quite quickly to get a form. Once I had all the bits recorded, it was obvious to see that some pieces needed to be repeated. And in particular, the chorus. Because I originally was only going to do this once. Then I was going to start my climb. And that was going to be part of the whole form of the song, like a whole A section. But what I realised is I'm giving away too much by going up here early in the song. So instead I repeated my chorus twice and then put in an instrumental section, which was just the melody that I'd written on the electric piano in Logic. And just had a breakdown section, let the percussion take over for a while, which is something that you wouldn't normally do, thinking, you know, that I'm writing on a ukulele. I'm not featuring the ukulele as an instrument in this song. I've built it up as a track. My influences are very strongly Midnight Oil, which is a great Australian band. The bass line kind of reminded me of something they did, and I'm a rock drummer first and foremost. And so I put a kind of rocky drum track to it. And then came the organ. And then the brass. Now I can't speak highly enough about how good the sounds are, the samples in Logic Pro. The brass sounds are just amazing. You can download them for free. Once you've bought the program, there's packs you can get that are just incredible. And the sounds are very responsive. Even with just a daggy old MIDI keyboard, you can get some amazing sounds in there. Oh. Hello?
Hey, Dad.
Yep.
The strings arrived.
Oh, okay.
And I was just wondering, are you coming back today?
Yep.
Okay, could I use your phone? Because I made another Instagram and I want to post my trailer on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Catch up. Bye. That was Daughter Rose. That reminds me, there was a little section in there where I could hear someone else's voice. Do it again, turns out the same, turns out the same. I heard that as someone else's voice. And Daughter Rose was staying with me at my friend's place, so I got her to record a vocal with a harmony. And I kind of auto-tuned it and put some effects on it to make it sound really sharp and robot-y.
It turns out the same.
My inspiration for that was Video Killed the Radio Star. So this is what I've ended up with. I would love to hear your comments. Let me know what you think, whether you like it or not. Be kind, but I can take it. I can take it on the chin. It's taste is something that you can't manufacture. Everyone has different ideas of what they like. So, with no further ado, this is my song, Way Too Loud.
What now, my love? We look into each other's eyes. What do we see? You don't trust me. You say that you are better off now without me. Very proud in a cloud. How can you not hear it? Everything's just way too loud. Where'd we go wrong? We stop in Naples to refuel, then we head out to sea. The therapy in passion now is not self-pity. Who's to blame? What's his name? It's not on me this time. Everything's just way too loud in here. Way too loud. Way too loud. Do it again. Do it again. Turns out the same.
It turns out the same.
How can you listen now? Everything's just way too loud. Do it again. Do it again. Turns out the same.
It turns out the same.
How can you listen now? Everything's just way too loud. Who's to blame? What's his name? It's not on me this time. Everything's just way too loud in here. Way too loud. Way too loud. Do it again. Do it again. Turns out the same. It turns out the same. How can you listen now? Everything's just way too loud. Do it again. Do it again. Turns out the same.
It turns out the same.
How can you listen now? Everything's just way too loud. It's way too loud in here. It's way too loud and loud and loud in here.
Thank you so much for hanging out all the way to the end of the video with me. It means a lot. YouTube loves it and so do I, and now you get a gold star. As I say, the track is available on my Bandcamp page, which I have linked in the description, and it also will come up at the end of the video as an end screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.